We've all been there, haven't we? We've all been there. You're just kind of minding your own business, and suddenly you are charged with attacking a child, and punching them in the head and in the belly and stuff like that. And like, whoa, man, there goes my weekend. It's pretty frustrating, but we all have been there. Very common.
Yeah.
But he was not guilty of this. He was found not guilty. The charges were not pursued or were dropped, one of the two. And he is not on record as being an assaulter of children. Break it in. Absorb it. Let it wash over you. Oh, Hippoclipped has a new video up, by the way. It's been a while. Hippoclipped has emerged once more from their cave to pass the stone tablets down to us. Let's check out this video.
What do you think's happening around Sound of Freedom?
The story centers around Tim Ballard.
I was molested and sexually assaulted by Tim in 4 different states.
A Homeland Security agent tasked with monitoring and arresting child traffickers across the US.
5 different countries.
Most of the time it's because they're outside Ballard's jurisdiction, hidden away in places like Mexico and Central America.
In the span of 10 months.
What do they object to?
Laundering money through a third-party company to pay for prostitutes.
Why is it caused such controversy?
I mean, honestly, you'd think it would be a no-brainer.
It sees him accused of rape, sexual assault, controlling and abusive behaviour.
Wow, that should be the sort of thing that you should really have no qualms about supporting.
Alice was just 16 in 2006 when she first met Russell Brand.
The fact that so many people in the mainstream media are against this, wow.
For Alice, Russell Brand, a self-proclaimed sex addict, was the first man she had had sex with.
We're all familiar now with the Jeffrey Epstein story.
Ballard was the one trafficking his female co-workers across international borders, then sexually assaulting them while they were undercover.
Look, what's with all these fucking guys, man? All the same exact guys that are getting real fucking judgmental about shit and acting high and mighty and stuff. Now, I mean, Ballard, if he had actually been part of an organization that was doing what they claim they do, that's good. It's a good thing. And in fact, there are plenty of organizations out there that do that, and they don't make shitty movies and then guilt people into going to see that as a way of supporting them. They just say, hey, donate to us, and people donate to them, and then they use that money quietly. They don't pat themselves on the back and make movies about one guy that works for the organization, because they're actually busy doing hard work of rescuing people off the streets and out of trafficking situations. That's that guy. So I mean, right here you got Tim Ballard, big piece of shit, allegedly. Russell Brand, even bigger piece of shit, allegedly. I'll tell you who's not a piece of shit that we're looking at, okay? Who has not assaulted anyone that we know of. Critical drinker. Okay? Now, I'm going to put up a banner here, and it's really important that I have this on screen as we talk about this, because it is a fucking fact that Critical Drinker did not assault an 11-year-old in 2016. Okay? That is a fact. You guys got this fact sinking in? Yeah, thank you. Let it absorb. Absorb an individual knows that's already sunk in. They got it. I mean, Critical Drinker is many things. He is a grifter. He is a fucking Scottish man. I mean, I don't know how you can get any worse than that. He is a liar. He is a right-wing fucking disinformation and propaganda agent. I stand by all of those claims. I will not make the claim that he has assaulted an 11-year-old boy, because that is simply proven, legally speaking, to be not true. He's not guilty of that. 2nd February 2016. Get your fucking dates in the right order, UK. It's all fucked up. So, Dunfermline, best-selling thriller author, found not guilty of assault. The Dunfermline. Man, I can't say that shit. Author of a series of best-selling thriller has been found not guilty of assault. William Jordan, 32, who has written 5 books in his Ryan Drake series, appeared in the sheriff's court last Thursday. He had previously pleaded not guilty to the charge that he assaulted a then 11-year-old boy, pushed him on the body, and repeatedly punched him on the body at Red Row in Limkillens on July 3 last year. This would have been made at 2015 that he didn't do that. Okay. The Crown did not wish to proceed with the conviction of Jordan of 3 Rose Thistle Bank, and he was found not guilty. Now there's some weird kind of like grammatical and syntax errors in this that makes me I don't know what this is about. But like this is this is a good question. This is a good question. How do you find yourself with such charges? I do not know. I do not know. He must have bad luck. He's a really unlucky guy, I guess. I really don't know what. It's such a specific thing to have not been. I mean, it wasn't him. Obviously, they found him not guilty. They chose not to proceed with charges. But someone must have assaulted an 11-year-old boy. Which is weird. And I guess they just maybe looked like him, or maybe the guy that assaulted the kid was like, are you getting the message? And they were like, oh, I know a guy that says that. maybe as the guy that not Will Jordan, but the guy that assaulted him was saying, as he was beating him up, he was like, go away now or something. And they were like, yeah, that we got the guy. We know who that is. Totally kidding, because this would have been before. It wasn't him anyway, obviously, as it says here. It wasn't him. But legally speaking, I can't say that it was him. Yeah, of course, it's worth saying that not guilty is not the same as innocent. What's weird is the way this is written is like, okay, in order to be found not guilty or whatever of anything in the U.S., you have to have gone to trial, which means that the judge wouldn't have thrown out the charges. So I don't know if somebody knows the nuances over there in Dunfermline or whatever the fuck. But like maybe that's just a slight difference where it's like you can actually be found not guilty if you, I don't know, doesn't make sense to my mind is how I understand the justice system working. But hopefully they found that motherfucker who did this to this 11-year-old boy, because clearly an 11-year-old boy was hurt. It has to have happened, right? Like there's no reason for them to have this specific of a, like they wouldn't have filed charges about an assaulted 11-year-old, period, if there wasn't an assaulted 11-year-old. He was accused of it. That is a fact. He was accused of it. Okay. How many of you look, I want to do a quick poll here. If you've ever been accused of assaulting a child, you just hit a 1 in chat, please. I just want to see how common it is. If the charges were dropped, as it says, then there would have been no trial to determine not guilty. It just would have been charges dropped.
Well, it's possible the charges could have been dropped during the trial.
That can happen here too.
Yeah, but even in our system, that would just be charges were dropped or the case was dismissed. It would not be a not guilty verdict.
That's true.
So
to be clear,
I don't understand how the Scottish system works.
Allegedly. Sketchy. Allegedly.
Yeah, I just want to make sure, because Reggie's asking, and if somebody's confused about this, I made an image, a helpful image, so just to clear it up.
Right.
We've all been there, haven't we? We've all been there. You're just kind of minding your own business, and suddenly you are charged with attacking a child and, punching him in the head and in the belly and stuff like that. And like, whoa, fuck, man, there goes my weekend, So let me get a 2 in chat if you have never been accused of assaulting an 11-year-old. 2 if you've never been accused of that, or any child, any age, honestly, any age. As an adult, I mean, if you were a child and you assaulted another child, that's one thing. Who cares? I did that. But like, as an adult, no, 2. Okay. Look, he's just got really, really bad luck then. I guess. I mean, how do you end up in that situation? But yeah,
maybe the kid's name was Ryan Drake, and Critical Drinker thought he was infringing on his copyright.
I was like, why didn't Tom Clancy beat up Critical Drinker then?
Well, because Tom Clancy's a class act, I guess.
True.
Doesn't punch down. He doesn't punch down.
I think he's dead though.
I think he might have been dead at the time.
I think he's dead. Yeah.
They simply got the wrong man, or tried to get the wrong man. Ultimately, justice was served because he did not get any punishment for it, because he didn't do it, as according to the courts. This is a really weird thing to have found, because like it's not there's only 2 sources for this event involving Will Jordan anyway. And it's both from the same outlet. There's this one, and then this is whenever he was, found not guilty / the case was thrown out. And then there's the one where he appeared in court. So that in January of 2016, he appeared in court to make his plea. In February was whenever he was found not guilty / the case was thrown out. So here's the first article. The reason I didn't show this one first is because it would have made it. Guys might have made the mistake of thinking that he was actually possibly the perpetrator of this crime. But as the banner says at the bottom of the screen there, Will Jordan did not, according to the court, assault an 11-year-old in 2016. Obviously, this photo was not taken after he had just been told he was being charged with assaulting an 11-year-old, because he seems way too happy there. He's not that.
Yeah,
Good on
I mean,
him.
what's interesting about this is our prosecution service won't proceed with a case unless there's evidence. They won't, and I'm sure it's the same in the States, they won't go after a case if they don't think they can definitely win it.
Sure.
So at some point, there must have been something that hinted heavily that he did do it. And whatever that was, either was proven to be not true or withdrawn for whatever reason.
Yeah. I mean, there's no evidence because he didn't do it, right? Like, that's the only thing you can take from that. He's not guilty. He's not guilty. That's just, that means innocent, right?
He has not been found guilty in a court of law of beating up an 11-year-old.
I imagine there was an altercation that he had with a child. Charges were filed, but ultimately without some sort of like security footage or something. And without like a hospital report due to injury, there's not really any evidence.
I reject that, Morgan. I don't think, like, what kind of piece of shit would have a fight with a child like that?
A piece of shit.
I doubt that Critical Drinker is a piece of shit to that degree. I'm sorry. It's just, I don't see it.
I don't know. Some of these 11-year-olds are pretty frightening these days. I don't know. They're all watching Andrew Tate and stuff now. They're probably all MMA experts and kickboxers.
Was he with a friend who did it? Did his friend do it or something? I don't know. I need more context to understand how they know how they thought it was Will Jordan, even though it wasn't. It wasn't. Legally speaking, it was not. Okay. But I mean, if it was, I imagine it would have gone maybe something like this. Could have been. That could have been it. But it wasn't Will Jordan that did that, for sure. Okay, it was not him. It was some other guy that somehow managed to, at least temporarily, make the authorities believe that it was Will Jordan that did this assault against an 11-year-old, whoever they accused him of, and he was found not guilty of, pushing an 11-year-old on the body and hitting an 11-year-old on the body multiple times. I agree, man. It's beginning to think that everyone involved in the right-wing grift is just absolute garbage. I don't imagine that. I mean, it makes sense, really. If you can justify doing what they do, you could probably justify a lot of things. And that's really all being a bad person is in most cases. I mean, there are people that are like, I guess, just like pathologically, or like, they have personality disorders and they become bad people. But like, just being a regular person who goes bad and becomes a terrible piece of shit, it really is just a matter of rationalizing things that other people won't rationalize, right? Or like justifying, rather. You can justify this thing because whatever reason, like, I deserve this, or fuck these people, or I'm resentful and I'm bitter, or what's it really harming, right? Like, it's not really hurting anybody, or those are the kind of justifications that I imagine these people, or in some cases maybe they just justify it as that it's deserved. The people that are harmed deserve it. I'm sure that that's the case for some of these people. Like, I read a thing one time about fascists, and not necessarily, not saying that all these people are fascists. Yes, I am. They're all fascists, but like, what fascists, how they view us, in particular, people who are not white, or people who are not men or straight, or the disabled. How they view the other, so to speak. It's not that they don't think we deserve rights. It's that they don't even believe that we would know what to do with them, or that we use them properly. It's almost like this fucking condescending pity thing. Like, it's how they, in their minds, is how it's framed. Is like they justify it, being fascist, because they believe we're just too and I'm saying we because I'm on the spectrum, so they must include me in that. That we just don't even understand what rights are, how to use them properly, what freedom is. And that really, just by letting us out into the society and voting and having a voice, and it's really just kind of fucking things up for everybody. So that we need to give up our rights for them to have all the control over everything, so that they can make the right choices for us. And that's very paternal, right? It's very fucking paternal and patriarchal, and that's just how their fucking poisoned, broken brains work.
What's interesting about that video, besides the critical drinker being very quiet about that, when he talks about how much of a defender of people that he is, obviously wanting to defend those kids, is he's not mentioned either Russell Brand or Tim Ballard since that interview.
Weird.
And I seem to remember that interview with Russell Brand came out about 2 or 3 days before the documentary about Russell Brand and the allegations surrounding him.